What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Eagles on the Air, the Salesian High School podcast brought to you straight from our broadcast studio. I'm your host, Steve Celestio, and I'm excited to bring you our guest today. Our guest is a member of Salesian High School's class of 2024, just graduated recently. It is Mr. Chris Healy. Chris, we are excited, thrilled that you decided to come on the show, and happy to have you here, man.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
That's great. We have a lot to cover today. I think we're going to hear some great stuff. I think it's going to be a great episode. But Chris, I start off every episode of Eagles on the Air with the same question to all the guests. And that question is, what is your Salesian story? How did you come to attend Salesian, your experiences for 4 years, and what took you beyond?
So my two eldest brothers came here, John and Mike. John graduated in 2016 and Mike in 2018. Throughout their time here, I would come to events like their baseball games, John when he had bowling, or like the band, the Christmas show they used to put on, I remember in Flaherty Hall. So I always felt like Salesian was familiar to me. So when I was taking the tax test and I was in 8th grade, it was obviously one of my top choices. And then when it was finally time to decide and I got accepted, I wasn't fully sure where I wanted to go. But something in my brain was like, Salesian's your home, go there. And so when my parents asked me, without thinking, I was just like, Salesian. It felt like the right choice, and I couldn't be happier that I went there. I went in my freshman year. It was COVID, which wasn't the best, so we were hybrid. I went in Thursdays and Fridays and was online Monday to Wednesday, and there were only 5 other kids in my classes. So it was a really rough adjustment period. And then the baseball season started my freshman year. And I remember going to tryouts and knowing no one because everyone else wasn't in my classes. It took me like 1 or 2 practices to actually start talking to people. And then once I did, it just boomed. Like I formed the greatest bond with all my teammates. That carried on the rest of the year. We would play spike ball outside together during lunch. We'd all hang out. And then sophomore year started and everyone was back. And that was like another culture shock where it went from being able to roam freely in the hallways to now you're shoulder to shoulder with people trying to get to class. But it was the greatest because now all the joy that I was having with my friends from the baseball team was amplified by everyone else being there and everyone else joining in. And it was also around my sophomore year where service opportunities started back up. And I got involved. I went on a midnight run and fell in love with it. Mr. Seifring was one of my greatest mentors while I was here. So just wanting to get involved in every way possible, continuing with baseball that year. Then junior year started, and in October, I got the greatest privilege of my life, which was to go on the Salesian Leadership Retreat. And it completely changed my life in a way that I would never be able to describe. Like, my faith took off, like, extraordinarily. And it was such a good experience, and I wish everyone got the opportunity to do it. Then I came back and obviously filled with this like enthusiasm and excitement, again, started to get even more involved, doing everything I could. Service hours became not just, this is how many I need to get done, but how much can I help out? And then senior year again came around and I was asked to be a young team leader on the leadership retreat, which I gratefully accepted. And then from there, obviously continued doing everything else. In the fall, instead of playing baseball, I decided to do bowling because I wanted to take a different alley. Again, made some more wonderful connections that I'm still friends with the kids. Continued in the spring playing baseball then. And then the other greatest opportunity I got at Salesian was going on the Tampa mission trip, which we started back up for the first time in February last year. And it was us as well as Don Bosco Prep. We went to the Mary Help of Christians Community Center in Tampa, Florida. And it was the most fun and honestly the most eye-opening experience of my life. We all knew that we were there to do service, but like we also took that opportunity to form a connection with each other and build our bond so much more. So in the mornings we would wake up, we'd be moving tree stumps, clearing out the woods, visiting nursing homes. But we knew that all the work we were doing was good for us and good for the community. And that after all that hard work, we'd be able to then enjoy ourselves playing volleyball, canoeing, and just having the most fun.
That's great. So I'm gonna run it back real quick and say, just based on what you just said, in your 4 years here, probably the most impactful experiences were your SLR and the Tampa trip.
Definitely.
Those are opportunities that we offer to a number of students, and basically, you weren't picked out of a hat. You were asked to go because of the body of work you've put together the first 2 or 3 years of your high school career, which was certainly impressive. And let's go back even further, because you had an impressive resume coming out of St. Clair's in the Bronx. I know you and all your brothers and sisters went to St. Clair's and did great there, as do so many students who come from that school. And you were right off the bat awarded a scholarship to come to Salesian, which I remember it very, very well because I knew your family so well. I was like, is Chris coming? Is Chris coming? And I know that you were waiting for all your scholarship offers to come through. And I knew you would get scholarships from other schools. So I would ask him, I said, is he coming? Is he coming? They're like, oh, I hope so. I think so. Your dad would say, I think he's coming. I hope he's coming. And ultimately you chose Salesian, and I couldn't have been happier. You were then a member of the honors program for 4 years, and you did great. And Chris, as I was reminded right before we started filming, graduated Salesian with a 100.09 average.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think the proof was in the pudding. You did a tremendous job academically here.
Thank you.
But so many people come on and they talk about Salesian being a homeschool parish and playground. So I certainly want to say, with most of your family, most of your brothers, I should say. So basically 3 of the 4 Healy boys came to Salesian High School.
Yeah.
So you certainly felt at home here.
Mm-hmm.
The school aspect, you nailed it. 100.09 average. Couldn't have done any better. The parish aspect, I mean, I remember, I see you, and all I see is the pictures that I used to have in the admissions brochure of you as a altar server for one of our masses, and the playground. I mean, I always remember, we just took a walk outside before we started filming, and we were passed by the spike ball courts. I was like, those used to be your courts. Yeah. So again, we're happy you're here to share some of these experiences. But tell me right now, your brothers came here. And they did very well here as well. Their grades were excellent, participated in all that. Did you do anything, a shadow day, open house? Did you do anything like that to say, hey, even though they came, I need to check this out for myself?
I did a shadow day in 8th grade in September, which was really early. That's one of my most vivid memories, is walking into your office and you were like, it's September. And I was like, yeah, but I want to see what's going on here. I remember I shadowed Andrew Hart. I remember being in his English classes and his math classes, and Miss Baston's class especially. I remember how welcoming she was, making jokes, making me write on her Promethean board.
Yep.
And yeah, I knew already coming in that it was going to feel like home. I didn't expect it to be that overwhelmingly I feel comfortable here.
Well, I'm glad it was, because we got you here. And I think you absolutely made the most of it. You brought up COVID before. COVID was a very difficult time for the class of 2024, dealing with this brand new type of schedule. Like you said, kids are in, kids are out, kids are remote. You're seeing kids in your classes for the first time on a computer screen. Very difficult all over the world. And Salesian did their absolute best to remain open so that you guys could come in here and get a little bit of that social aspect and let school feel kind of normal for a little bit. But let's go back to your academic career here, because I want to take advantage of having you on and having been through the honors program here. Tell me a little something about the honors program, a little bit about the rigor in terms of the honors program. I know we encourage you guys to take the most difficult courses we have. So can you tell any courses that stick out, anything that you took that might even benefit you in what you're doing today?
I would say the course that sticks out, and it doesn't affect my major at St. John so much, but it made me fall in love with a different subject, was Mr. Federico's classes, AP US, AP Government, and Political Science. His enthusiasm in the classroom took history, which used to be a boring subject for me in middle school, and made me love to learn about it. I still annoy my parents all the time, telling them facts about the government. That AP government test was I think for our entire class, we did really well because of how much he pushes us. Quiz every Monday when we walked in. And at first you're like, that's excessive. That's a lot of work. And then once you get that AP test, you're like, wow, I know what I'm doing here. And it felt easier than the course itself.
I think that's the ultimate purpose of our honors program, to deliver that rigor to you guys as high school students so that when you're studying at a high level in the colleges, you're ready for it. You're prepared. Tell me, you said you're at St. John's. What are you studying at St. John's?
I'm studying pharmacy. I'm in their 6-year pharmaceutical program, so mostly chemistry, and then right now all my core classes.
So what's the vision? What do you want to do? What do you want to do with that 6-year pharmacy program?
I want to then, obviously I'm taking a job in the summer working in a pharmacy this year. I want to continue that, get my PhD in 6 years, and then hopefully down the line I want to own my own pharmacy. And honestly, I want to come back and work somewhere, and I'd love to work here.
Well, if I'm still here, and this is year number 19 for me, I will do everything I can in my power to get you on the books here. It would be a pleasure to have a Healy in the building.
You.
Okay, so I got a little surprise for you. I just need to. I don't do this for everybody, but I have in front of me here Chris's high school transcript. Now, I can't do this for everybody, but because yours was so impressive, first of all, I looked at it earlier today and I was like, whoa. So the numbers on here, I thought these were fake, but you did pretty good.
Thank you.
So like I mentioned, your career GPA was a 100.09. I didn't even know that you can go that high. I knew that, I'm just kidding. But we're gonna play a little game right here. Okay. And we're gonna see how much you remember here, okay? In your senior year, your average was 103. That was your final average your senior year, okay?
Okay.
Your lowest grade was a 96. What class was that in, and who was the teacher?
That had to be, was that AP Psychology?
No, give yourself a little bit more credit than that. You had a 99 in AP Psych.
AP Lit?
You had a perfect 100 in AP
Did
Lit.
I?
Oh, absolute 100 average.
What else? Oh, AP Calc?
AP Calc, 98. Nope. Keep going. There's not that many more classes on here. I thought this was going to be easy. Do you want a hint?
Sure.
It's a 2-part class.
Oh, okay. Was
that too easy of a hint?
It was AP Gov and Economics?
Oh my God.
Was it not?
No. AP Government and Economics.
Oh, Political Science?
Political Science in 96. It only took like 9 guesses, but we got there.
I thought I did better than that.
No, because in the second semester, you finally picked up your grades and you turned a 96 into a 99. So it did take you a little bit. But no, I was just joking here. I wanted to bring this up real quick because literally I looked this up and I said, this is a transcript that only a high school senior can dream about. So anyway, let me put this back down because that could be the first test you failed in all of Salesian High School. All right, so Chris, talk to me a little bit more about baseball, okay? I know that we have your grades covered right now, all right? I think that you nailed it from the tax exam in the 8th grade, straight through to your high school experience, straight through the honors program and all the rigorous courses you took. But baseball, all right? And I know, let's go baseball and bowling, because 2 things outside the classroom. Tell me a little bit more about your experiences, maybe your coaches, what you guys did, how your teams performed, and all that.
So my freshman year, I came in as an outfielder only, a right fielder, and instantly they were like, "You're going to pitch too." And I never pitched. My brothers pitched, and the coach, Marco Rodriguez, had both of my brothers as players. So he knew that, and he was like, "No, we're going to turn you into a pitcher too." So instantly that was a little scary, but getting into it, like, we have such good coaches here and such a good support system where they want to see you succeed, not just for the team aspect, but also they want to see you improve over the years. So obviously I started pitching, wasn't good, couldn't throw a strike to save my life. Then Sophomore year, I was again on JV. I played center field, and I had to fill in on first base because one of our teammates had injured. And then I continued to pitch then. Junior and senior year, I played varsity. Junior year, I got a shoulder injury, so I was out for the first few games of the season, but I continued to pick it up. And then senior year, I was pitching better than I ever thought I would. Pitching against, I remember Coach Fratt put me in against St. Peter's, who was the reigning champs, and I was like, that's okay. The fact that he trusts me this much is a big honor. And then I also had the honor of playing right field that entire season. And the amount of fun that I had on that field. When I was playing bowling, which I'll get into bowling in a little bit, but playing bowling in the fall, as much as I loved it, there was also a part of me that was like, wow, I miss that baseball field so much. I miss those boys. That's my team, and I need to be back with them in the spring. Getting into bowling, I came in not even knowing if I could bowl well. It was Mr. Chozo and Mr. Federico were the coaches, and I remember going to tryouts, and I think I bowled like a 101. And Chozo was like, get those numbers up just a little bit, and we could find a spot for you on varsity. So I was like, okay. Then I was able to earn myself a starting spot on varsity. I was, out of the four bowlers, the first one to bowl. Went from only being able to bowl like 120 max to then bowling 160s. We came second in the playoffs. We lost to Archbishop Stepanak. And then we were allowed to go to the cities, which was such an honor to be able to participate in something like that, especially in a sport that I wasn't really confident in going into. So I think the nurturing environment of our coaches wanting to see us do better is so important to build not just a good team, but also like your self-image, help you be better at other aspects of your life.
Yeah, and it seems like you put a few names together there, and it seems like you had some of the coaches here that are in particular very supportive. Mm-hmm. They know a lot about Salesian High School. They know a lot about the development of high school kids in their adolescence, and a lot of that happens on the ball field. So, I think you're one of the lucky guys that had a chance to play for all these great coaches in multiple sports. Let's pivot a little bit. You said earlier your two brothers graduated here. We have John from the class of 2016, and we have Michael from the class of 2018. Before we go today, I'm not going to completely put you on the spot, but I'm going to ask you a question about them because as I was plucking transcript, I just grabbed all the Healys. Okay?
Okay.
I hope these questions aren't as difficult as the first round. Okay?
I hope not either.
One of your brothers graduated with a 93.34 career GPA. John or Michael?
I'm going to say Michael.
Okay, would it help if I gave you the other GPA too?
Yes.
Okay, one of your brothers had a 93.34 GPA career, and one of them had a 91.52.
Okay, I'm going to say Michael was the 91.52.
And John the 93.34?
Yes.
That is absolutely correct. And you said that with some deal of certainty.
Yeah.
So your brothers know that you know all about them.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to share with us today, Chris? Because I'm happy like crazy that you came on. I thought you delivered some great insight for us. Anything else that you'd like to say before we go?
I have the highest privilege in the world to be able to come here. I feel so honored to be invited back for stuff like this. Salesian is my home and always will be. And anyone who's even thinking about coming here, trust me, it's worth it. Write Salesian down. It's the place to be.
And I have to say, working here so long too, and especially being here, seeing all your brothers come in and graduate, there's not an event that went by that you didn't either volunteer for, and if you couldn't make it for some reason, you always told me, like, I would be there, but I got a baseball game that day, or something like that. You are the type of guy that when teachers say, I wish I had 100 of them, you're that guy. So it's always a pleasure to have you back. You know that Salesian High School, you said it, is always your home. We want to reiterate it's always your home. The doors are always open to you, to the entire class of 2024, all the young alums out there. Come back. And like Chris said, apply to Salesian High School. It's the place to be. These guys do great once they graduate, and they get themselves a great education and become, upstanding citizens right here.
Thank you.
So with that being said, I want to thank Chris one more time for coming on today. But without further ado, it has been another awesome episode of Eagles on the Air.